paranormal is all around us. You just have to recognize it. My name is Jeffrey Price. I'm one of the lead investigators with Michiana Paranormal Investigations. I have been a police officer in Northern Indiana since 2007. In 2012, myself and one of our former police dispatchers, Liz Brownbridge, discovered that we had one common interest, and that was the paranormal. We decided to form a local paranormal group in north central Indiana that could help clients that were reporting claims of paranormal activity. Since 2012, our group has grown to over 15 members and includes senior investigators, historians, investigators with various experience, psychics, and video and audio technicians. Since we started, our team has traveled around the area in search of some of the most haunted locations with the same goal in mind on every investigation: helping people. In 2015, our team started conducting paranormal workshops and presentations, teaching the community on how to use and understand equipment and various techniques. Join us every week as we showcase some of our investigations, demonstrate equipment, talk with experts in the field of paranormal science, and go on location to show you some unique and potentially paranormal hotspots. We are Michiana Paranormal Investigations, and this is Haunted Michiana. Hello, and welcome to another episode of our show, Haunted Michiana, with Michiana Paranormal Investigations. My name is Jeff Price. We're here in downtown South Bend at the beautiful WNIT studios, bringing a show to you, talking about different forms and aspects of paranormal. And today is going to be a very good show. Today, our show is going to be what we call Questions from a Hat. We have questions that our viewers have submitted into us, and we're going to be answering those questions for you today on our show. But before we begin, I kind of want to introduce our group here. Again, my name is Jeff Price, lead investigator and co-founder with Michiana Paranormal Investigations. Got a few people behind me and a few other people off to my right here, and we're just going to take a quick second and go ahead and introduce everybody. Sorry.
I'm Rob Wisniewski. I'm the historian and senior investigator for the group.
I'm Liz Brownbridge, and I'm co-founder, lead investigator.
I'm Mandy Melton, and I'm just an investigator.
I'm Rachel Higbee, and an investigator.
I'm Dustin Livers, and I am actually the psychic medium of the group.
So we're going to take it right over here. We have two of our beautiful colleagues over here. If you guys want to introduce yourself as well.
Thanks, Jeff. Hi, I'm Sarah Jackson. I'm one of the producers for Michiana Paranormal Investigators, and I'm pretty excited about tonight's questions.
I'm Melody Wisniewski. I'm a senior investigator, treasurer, secretary, and gopher for the group.
Let's swing into some questions. Philip from Mishawaka wants to know, what do your friends say to you when you tell them you're into this?
You know, I think all my friends think I'm crazy, to be honest. You know, it's funny, you know, where I work at, you'll have people that will, they'll say, oh yeah, you're in that ghost group, and, you know, they kind of make fun of it. But then when there's no one else around, they pull you aside and like, okay, well, I got a question. What if someone is experiencing this? What would you do? So it's kind of interesting when people that maybe don't believe really kind of do, but yeah, people always kind of poke fun. But
Yeah, they don't want to admit it.
Right.
Yeah, I think people want to believe on some level, and that's always an interesting thing, yeah.
Plus, the ghost shows are in your face all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
And definitely, I think with the advent of more and more paranormal shows coming out nowadays, that, you know, people that maybe didn't have quite an interest in it before are seeing other people that are, you know, experiencing things. So I'm thinking that, you know, a lot of that is drawing attention to the paranormal field, and I think it's something that, you know, definitely, you know, I think people that can relate that have had an experience where before maybe, you know, they didn't want to tell anybody, or for fear of being, you know, laughed at or anything.
And how they were brought up too.
Right.
You know.
Depending on their religion or...
Exactly,
yeah.
and maybe grandparents lived in the house, and they taught their kids and the grandkids. You know, you don't believe in that stuff.
What about you guys back there? What do you guys think?
Pretty much the same thing. Just, you know, in a crowd, everybody's like, oh, you do what? And then they pull you aside later. Like, so have you seen anything? Tell me what happened. Aren't you scared? You know, you just get all the questions of, you know, what's it like? People that want to know what it's like to be out there but are too afraid to go.
The biggest question is, what is the scariest thing you've ever seen?
I've gotten that one a lot too.
I get that all the time. That is like the number one question I get.
And I think, it's one of those things where you can sit at home and you can watch a ghost hunting show. You can, you can watch hours and hours and hours of it. But until you're actually at a paranormal investigation and you're in that dark room, in the basement, in the corner, and you hear something, then it's, you're getting that sense of realism that you don't really get watching the TV. And I think, a lot of people, don't understand that. And, I always say that's why I think it's great to go into paranormal investigation, even if you don't believe or you have an interest in it, just to kind of experience it. And once you get hooked on it. I think we're deviating from the question here, so. We're going off on a tangent here.
Let's grab another question from the box.
Okay. There's a lot of questions in here.
You have a lot of fans.
Okay, Lacey from Chicago wants to know, where is Michiana anyway? The Google Maps says there's no such city.
Ironically, there is a Michiana, Michigan. It's not much of a town, but I've gotten that from friends that live outside of the area. They want to know, where's Michiana. And for those that don't know, Michiana, it's a play on the words between Michigan and Indiana. We're right on the border of Michigan, and the town, like just north of us, is called Niles, Michigan. And so the Michigan, Anna, Indiana. But down where I went to college, down in Evansville, you have like Kentuckiana down there. So it's not,
it's not unusual to mix it up, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm from Louisiana, and that's just one state, so.
we have to claim a couple
I think
here.
the news stations kind of started putting that together too.
Yeah, their viewing area.
Yeah, their viewing area.
But
yeah.
I remember a few years ago when the airport here was called Michiana Regional Airport.
Regional,
Right.
right.
A lot of
Yeah.
people got upset because they wanted it to be South Bend Airport at South Bend. So you see a lot of places dropping the Michiana name just because of this reason. People don't know where it's at, So you really have to be kind of familiar with the area. But I just say we're by Notre Dame, and that usually works.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, bringing it back to South Bend, Ray from South Bend would like to know, he says, you're psychic. What's the answer to my question?
Are you talking to me?
That was the question. That's all it said. I think this one was from Twitter.
Well, I will be the first to say that I'm not that good, so I know what I can and can't do, and that's something I just can't. But I'm sure that the answer is probably yes or no.
Good answer. Good
I like
answer.
it.
Good
I
answer.
like it.
All right. Cindy from Kokomo wants to know, what's the difference between a sensitive and a psychic?
Okay, so this
Dustin.
this sounds like I could shed some light on this. So I would describe a sensitive as someone who sometimes feels things. It's they don't really have a rhyme or reason, but maybe they feel things with their family members or their friends. They may sometimes feel things when they go into rooms, but I would describe someone who's actually a psychic as someone who has those feelings more so than someone who's just a sensitive. Does that make sense? And so when you're I would describe it being psychic as you continually feel those feelings. They just happen all the time. And then you're aware of them because they happen so often. Whereas a sensitive, it's just kind of, it just kind of comes and they don't really have a rhyme or reason to it. Does that make sense? So it kind of happens over and over. It's more of a developed sensitive. I would call someone as an actual psychic.
Very cool.
All right.
I feel like I'm learning so much.
You are.
Yes. Carlos from South Bend says, how do you choose a site to investigate?
Well, Carlos, sometimes we choose a site based on history or historical landmarkers or cemeteries, houses, but sometimes they choose us. Sometimes we get calls from people that say, hey, I'm having some weird stuff happen at my house. Can you come take a look at it? And there's really no way to choose. like I said, sometimes it picks us, sometimes we pick them.
Especially when you drive past that creepy looking building and you're like,
Ooh,
I want to go in there.
gotta
And
get in
I want
there.
to investigate. There's got to be
Yeah.
a ghost story or something behind it. And, but yeah, like you said, Rob, it's, there's places, people will contact us and we will go out and we will, go to their place. But there's a lot of places where we've, called them up and said, hey, can we come and investigate? And as long as you get permission, the key word is getting permission, from
yeah.
the people, whether it's a cemetery or anything like that, we'll go. And we, that's one good thing. We're not really limited on, how on the houses. There's so many places you can go that, paranormal stuff can happen. So it's, it's fun. But yeah, to answer the question, yeah, you're right. Sometimes, we choose a place, but sometimes they choose us, depending on who contacts us. So thanks, Carlos. Good question.
All right. Man, whoever put these together really stuck these babies together.
Sorry.
Speaking of Niles, Raymond from Niles wants to know, why would you ever poke around with things that go bump in the night?
Because that's what we like to do. I think it's checking out the unknown and, kind of the backstory of the place. Let's see if this really, is this for real or can we debunk something, It's kind of a play on both of those things. So.
Right. Is it actually a haunting, or is it somebody's got a loose pipe in their basement that every
Mice
time they
or-
flush the toilet
yeah,
it shakes
yes.
the house?
Or bad electricity.
Exactly, or bad
Yeah.
electricity. That we've actually gotten into a few places where people were feeling things where they were in their kitchen or living room, and based on what we've gotten from EMF detector, it was just a lot of electric field given off, and that can make you feel that way. So.
Not just an actual haunting, but even if it's just negative energy.
Exactly,
Because there is
right,
a
right.
difference between it just being negative
Right.
and then actually being an entity in the building,
I don't. For me, I like the, I don't know. I don't want to call it the scare factor, but, people. It is. People watch horror movies and scary movies for a reason, just so you're on the edge of your seat the entire time. And and like I said earlier, when you go out somewhere and you're watching it on TV, it's great, But when you're actually there and you get to experience it, and it's that fourth, dimensions of.
And you don't have a TV crew behind you.
Exactly, and it's great. Just
And, yeah, and that's just the not knowing what you're going to find or what you're going to hear.
Well, and also, I like investigating, so it's almost like figuring out a puzzle. What made
Right.
that noise? I just.
So the debunking.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, I think it's also helping a client out or the person that called you out there, because it's you're going somewhere where someone is calling you, someone is experiencing something where it's enough where they had to call an outside group to come in and check it out. And when you can give that person like you said, a piece of the puzzle, or help explain what's going on, just that sense, it's totally worth it just to do that by itself.
I think my thing is the biggest thing is finding the evidence. Where you're sitting at home and you're listening to your EVPs and you go, that was not there when I was listening to that or recording that. Or it's really, really neat getting somebody responding to a question that you asked. I mean, it's
And
pretty cool.
that makes you want to keep going back.
Oh yeah,
Right.
And keep doing it.
It drives you
And
even more because there's
right.
something
Right.
there.
And it causes you to go back down into that basement in the corner by yourself, or have somebody else on the other room.
And
Yep.
banking off of that, you get to share that evidence with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going in with your friends, going into an unknown location, and you guys are experiencing the same phenomena that our clients are experiencing. It's
Right.
so
Right.
awesome.
Well, and it's also neat when somebody picks something up on camera at the same time that a voice is picked up over here,
Oh, yeah.
and you can compare them. And good, we got evidence on both different angles, so it wasn't just a fluke.
Which validates
Yeah.
it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also think it's fun when you get to play with the fun equipment. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
you get to bring out the goodie bags full of
I'm with you on that.
electronics and everything you can
We've
possibly
got, we've
think
got
of.
some great equipment.
It's one of those where it's an ever-changing field, so people come up with new ideas
All
and
the
new
time.
ways to investigate and new toys of to detect this and that. And when you actually get a piece of that new equipment and get to play around with it, I love that. It's great.
So basically, you all get a rush from it. From
Oh, yeah.
Some
Oh, absolutely. Yep.
And it's pretty much the best thing ever.
Right. Well, sometimes when you're sitting and you're listening to the digital audio for what seems like hours sometimes, but you run across that one really good piece of evidence, it makes you want to keep on listening to more and more, and maybe even run back through it again and listen. Oh, did I miss something? So yeah.
Very cool.
Good question.
Well, I've only been on the one investigation, and it was very small. But I gotta say, y'all had me on the edge of my seat editing a lot of your footage. So I'm here with you. That scare factor's definitely there. All right, Jesse from L.A., not Louisiana, Los Angeles. Jesse, would you consider yourselves weird or normal?
Yes.
Simple
Yes.
Depending on the
answer.
company.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I think so.
Yes.
Depending on the company.
And I think it's I don't how do I say this?
It's subjective.
It is, I think being a paranormal investigator or a ghost hunter, you're a unique breed of person. You want to run into the scary buildings when everyone's running away, and there's no specific mold of this is what there's so many different personalities and looks and types and everything that it is a diverse group of family, and that's one thing that I like about it is we're all not the same. We all don't think the same, and we all have our different explanations of what's going on. And so whether that's weird or normal, I don't know, but it's.
I did see something posted on one of those social media things that said paranormal investigators are like firefighters. We are the brave that run into the haunted building that go try to figure out what's going on and save people. And I thought it was so funny, but so awesome and the same fact.
I just heard it once saying from somebody, define normal.
Yeah, I would agree
That's
with that.
us.
I prefer to never be referred to as normal typically, but
Yeah.
Normal's
Normal's
boring.
Yeah.
normal is boring. I agree. So that's the moral of the story. We're weird.
We're weird.
That's fine.
And we're proud of it.
But
That's
it's
right.
normal to us.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah,
Weird
there
is
you
our
go.
normal.
All right, another one?
Ready?
Sure.
Okay.
Out of our lovely hat.
Okay. There's still a bunch in there. It's amazing.
Awesome.
Okay. Jose from San Diego wants to know, what made you start a show? This one's going to be towards you, Chuck.
This is almost all Jeff's.
Well, I remember when the very first, when I watched Ghost Hunters for the very first time when it came out, and I was such on the edge of my seat, watching it that it was, I always wanted to be that person on the other side of the camera, or get to go and experience, the phenomenon and everything that's been going on. And for me, having a video and TV production background, it's kind of great, dusting off the skills that I did when I was in college, and which in my career now I don't really utilize a lot, but it's great, just setting out and exploring and kind of putting something together. And it gives you something at the end where you can sit back and you can look at it and you can watch it over and over and over again. And every time you watch it, you either pick up something new, or you see something you didn't see before, or you remember something. And even watching videos from our first year, 4 years ago when we made our first one, it's you tend to forget a lot of things when you're as the years go by. But when you watch that video, you remember how much fun you had and how much of a good time it was. And it's a way for us also to share our experiences and what we have gathered with the public and with people outside the group, and
In other groups.
and exactly. And it's a great way to just keep in touch with our fan base. But it's
In our paranormal family here.
Mhm.
exactly.
And as a sidebar, how do you go from taking TV, audio, video in college to being a police officer?
Well, growing up, I always wanted to be a police officer ever since I was a kid, but I always had this big interest in video and TV. But, you know, it's hard to make a living in TV unless you're really good at it, and I'm not the greatest at it. But it's a fun hobby, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And I also thank everyone here for, you know, helping out with our show, and, you know, we're definitely very blessed to be where we are right now, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for everybody sitting in this room right now.
Well, Liz, did you call Jeff crazy when he came to you and said, let's make a YouTube channel?
No.
Let's make a show. You were all on board?
Yeah, I was excited.
That's cool.
It's a great way for people because when you watch these paranormal shows, you know, a lot of it's, you know, these bigger destinations and places that aren't necessarily in the area. So it's interesting when we can put a show, we can put movies and stuff and videos that highlight local things and things that, you know, people may not realize that, you know, hey, just down the street there's a theater that has a ghost, you know, story behind it.
I never
You know,
knew that was there, or I never knew that place has been there that long, or that's pretty cool.
And that was part of the reason of doing the show, was to showcase the local, you know, things that are going on here as well.
And our first really YouTube video was at the residential in Michigan.
Yeah, White Pigeon. Yeah.
And I think that kind of started it off. That was so well put together and so exciting to watch.
And
I
for
was
the
like,
very first video we did, the White Pigeon, I mean, it was literally taking your cell phone and you're recording and everything to, you know, to we are now, where we've got nice equipment and we've got, you know, some, you know, good video editing suites, and we have, you know, a lot of people on our team that have, you know, experience doing the editing and audio, and, you know, I'm not looking at either, you know, and it's great when you have that, that knowledge basis in your group where, you know, we are our own entity when it comes to things like that. So
Absolutely. And I think I just wanted to add that since we're doing this show in the Michiana area, I think it adds to the authenticity. We're not some big company in LA or in New York or Chicago. We're in this little farmland, you know, little city, actually
much,
finding places that are haunted, and we're able to validate for people or say, no, I don't think that's what's going on.
And I mean, just to kind of tag on with what you said, and you made a very good point of, you know, we're not in this for money. None of us are in this to make any sort of money at all. And when you can add in, we're here with our goal to help people. We're here to, you know, find the truth, and whether it's something haunted or whether it's not haunted, you know, and exactly. And whatever we put out there is what we find. If we go somewhere and we don't find anything, then we don't find anything. You know, we're not going to try to make up things or, you know, disturb the evidence, or kind of, you know, if it is, it is. It's not, it's not. And I think that just can add to the authenticity of what we are showing to people. So we want people to watch a video or a YouTube video or a link or something that we did and think that, hey, these people are legit. These people, you know, there's no question in our mind. And we've had people from across the country contact us, you know, here. And again, you get the, where is Michiana? Where are you guys at? You know, but, and we've had people in LA, you know, different, you know, not to kind of toot our own horns, but we had a, you know, that production company last year that called us, that was interested. And, you know, but, you know, when they were talking to us, you know, people in LA were watching us and saying, you know, hey, when I watch your videos, I felt genuine. I could trust what you guys were saying. And that's what our main basis is. We want to make sure that people, you know, are watching something and they believe what they're watching.
Well, I know that I'm very recent to the group personally, but for me, I definitely love the Fox Hollow stuff. Putting together the Fox Hollow evidence for you guys after y'all did that investigation. Because Fox Hollow's claimed to be like the most haunted house in Indiana, and y'all found like zilch. And it's great. And
but we found explanations for some things.
For some of the things, you know, the draft, the door, I mean, watch it on YouTube, you know. but it's like
Good plug there, Lou.
get a plug in while you can. But I mean, the evidence is laid out, and everything was debunked in what is considered one of the most haunted places in Indiana. And I
we
love
got
that.
more in the woods outside the house
Yeah.
than we actually got in the house.
I know. I had more goosebumps watching you in the woods outside the house. Man, y'all, I cannot edit footage after dark.
Well, it looks like we are hitting the end of our segment here. So, again, I want to thank everyone that's sitting here today for taking time out of your schedules to come out and share your experiences, with our television audience here. And definitely want to thank you guys at home for watching our show, Haunted Michiana. Make sure you stay tuned to more episodes. We'll be bringing you more question and answer sessions like this and exploring more of the paranormal happenings that are occurring in Michiana. So make sure you stay tuned to our next episode.
Michiana, paranormal investigations. Michiana. Michiana, paranormal investigations.